Hey guys, I'm Si, and welcome to A.C.E Podcast Nation, the home of the Andy Campbell Football Show, and this is episode number 50. The show is available live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, stroke Twitter. A.C.E Podcast Nation, also the home to many great shows featuring top guests, expert analysis, and more. So please follow us on social media, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and for more information, you can find it all over our social medias, which you can find in the description below. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Martin and Black Diamond Sports for all their help and support. Black Diamond Sports is a global sports agency representing sports stars around the world. For more information, visit their social media pages, which you can find the links to in the description also, as well as at the closing credits. And we'd also like to thank Darren Ralston for sponsoring today's show, the Andy Campbell Football Show, sponsored by Bespoke Financial.
My mummy and daddy have been talking about life insurance. It sounds like something to protect my brother and me, but I don't really understand. Then my Auntie Louise told Mummy about Bespoke Financial Teesside. She said they're a local company who helped her with her life insurance. Mummy got in touch, and because they're based locally, a man called Darren was able to come to our house. He was really friendly. Darren stayed for a cup of tea and made it all really easy to understand. He said that life insurance will protect our home and family if anything bad were to happen. Like if Mummy or Daddy got sick, then we'd get enough money to take care of us, and our house would be paid for so it wouldn't get taken away. After an hour, Darren said goodbye and Mummy and Daddy seemed a lot happier. Once it was all sorted, we could all relax and watch a film together as a family. I don't know why they didn't do it sooner.
Bespoke Financial, we thank them for sponsoring the show. Of course, they specialise in life insurance, critical illness, income protection, mortgages and sports cover. And with no further ado, I'll introduce my co-host, my good old buddy, Speed Demon, co-host, ex-Cardiff City and Middlesbrough striker, Mr. Andy Campbell. How are you, mate?
Very well. Looking forward to this one. It's been a while. Been trying to get Barry on for a while and managed to get him in the end. Stalked him, so we got him in the end.
That's it, mate. Got to stalk the guests until they give in. That's it. But no, it's I've been looking forward to it, mate. I got to put my teeth in. I keep stumbling over my words. Just don't know what's going on. But joining us is, of course, ex-Leicester City, Plymouth, Bristol Rovers, Sheffield Utd, Millwall and Fulham striker, and of course the Jamaican international, Mr. Barry Hayles. How are you, Barry?
Hi guys. Yeah, I'm very well indeed. Very well indeed.
Fab. Thanks for coming on, Barry. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
It's really looking forward to it. And you've had 6 promotions, won an Intertotal Cup, scored goals everywhere you've been. So you've had a very interesting and special career, which I'm really looking forward to getting into and doing a bit of a deep dive on that. And of course, we'll take some questions from the live chat. But what we like to do to start is just go through the quick fire questions, get to know you, get to know some of your tastes. So all it is, it's the Magnificent 7. 7 questions, and you just basically say the first thing which comes to mind.
Okay.
So, Barry Hayles, the Magnificent 7. Messi or Ronaldo?
For me, it's Messi all day. And now I think he's more of a team player.
Yeah, man. 100%.
Say again?
No, I was going to say, the Rolling Stones or the Beatles?
Beatles. Yeah, Beatles for me.
Yeah, I see. I get criticised a lot for that because I don't like the Beatles. So it's got
you.
It's because he's anti-Liverpool, Barry.
Well, that's it.
Oh, that's why. I get it.
Method in his madness, you see. Method in his madness.
Yeah, that's it. I see that. Yeah.
No comment. Favorite TV show?
I do like the Big Bang Theory. No, I do like the Big Bang Theory. Yeah. I do watch that. I do like Sheldon. Yeah, I think he's so funny in that.
Angriest teammate.
Teammate. I don't know. I think that's me in that. I come on the pitch and I'm always angry. So yeah, I'm always angry when I'm on the pitch.
Best roommate.
It's got to be Sean Davis. When I was with Sean at Fulham for many years, and that he's the best roommate.
Good player as well, Barry. One midfielder, good player.
Yeah. He
Top lad.
Pass the ball across the pitch everywhere. And that.
Worst trainer.
I would say Rufus Brevett at Fulham. He's by far the worst trainer.
Mr. Laid Back, wasn't he? Just very laid back.
Yes, he's very laid back. He's probably the worst trainer. But come match day, he was always a 7-8 out of 10.
Send it on.
And the last one, best manager you've played under.
Oh, that's a tough one. I've played under some great managers, but I've got to say, when I've played under Holloway 3 times, so he probably stands out the most for me, and he got the best out of limited clubs, limited players as well. So yeah, I've got to say Holloway.
Just speaking about him though, Barry, that he does exactly what it says on the tin, doesn't he? That he gets the best out of a limited budget. He brings the best out of an individual. You know what I mean? His togetherness, his team spirit. You know what I mean? It goes a long way, doesn't it? You don't have to be the best players in the world to play for him. He just wants 100% and run through a brick wall for his club and for him as a manager, really, doesn't he?
Exactly, yeah. Because when I joined the Bristol Rovers, we were tipped to get relegated, and we ended up making the playoffs and that. So that's a sign in itself. So that was such a great job he done.
He's a top manager.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about Ian Holloway just because he's such an interesting character. So I am interested to get like a bit of a look behind the scenes, like because we've all seen him as a pundit and we've all seen his post-match interviews, which are always absolutely outstanding. He's one of those managers where his post-match interviews, particularly if things have gone badly, are just box office. You can't miss them. Like they're almost, you look forward to them just because you don't know what he's going to say. He could say literally like anything. So I'm looking forward to that. So before we get sort of into Barry's career and we talk a bit about that, we start with any other business. And which one do you want to start with, mate?
I want to talk about the games that are live on TV and get obviously your thoughts and Barry's thoughts about what you like and what you dislike from obviously the live games. You know, is it everything what you thought it was going to be, Barry? You know what I mean? Now they've got crowd noise. Does that work? Have you seen this watch along? I tried to watch a game the other day. I watched Wolves against Arsenal with Steve Bull, Ray Parlour, and a reporter, and I just didn't get it. I'll be honest, I just didn't get it. You know, I'm confused with the crowd noise because, you know what I mean, it's like a few seconds after. I get why they do it because it tries to enthrall you and entice you in. But what's your own thoughts on everything? You know, it's great to have football back, by the way. I'm not being negative.
Exactly, yeah, 100%. I watch with the crowd noise because I think I can't just sit there in silence and watch a game. But and then the last game I watched, the guy who was doing it, he thought the team scored and he put the crowd noise on and it was side netting, so it was a bit delayed, like you say. So, but I mean, I can't watch a game and like I say, for me, it seems like pre-season games. Yeah, and that's why teams down who are down at the bottom tend to play keep ball and not, because the crowd would be like, get the ball forward, attack more, and that's why the teams are falling down in that.
Well, what's your thoughts on Barry? Because obviously I've had this conversation. You know what I mean? People, you know, it's like Marmite, isn't it? You either love it or you hate it. You know what I mean? We all want football back, but as an ex-player, you know what I mean? For me, it reminds me a lot of reserve team football where you're playing behind closed doors. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? From being an experienced professional to play a reserve game, you play for different reasons. You play to get fit, but you're probably not in the game. You're probably not motivated for the game, and it must be hard for the players to get fully motivated if you've got nothing to play for, so to speak. You know, like for different reasons. You know, because it's so difficult when there's no crowd there.
Yeah, exactly. As I say, the crowd, they play a big part. And sometimes when the ref he might make a blunder, say, the crowd would get on his back, and he would step up his game. So it's tough. It's tough for the refs. It's tough for the players, like you say, to motivate themselves.
Yeah, and then you've got also on top of that, Barry, you've got players who struggle when crowds get on the back. You know what I mean? They've got at the minute they've got a license to relax and enjoy the games. You know that there's no pressure from away fans, home fans. You know that it's good players are coming to the table a little bit. You know that I think everyone gives Jack Grealish quite a lot of stick. I'll use him as an example, but he's quite busy. He's getting on the ball a lot more. You know what I mean? Yes, he's getting brought down because he's a game changer on his day, but I do like that the good players are coming to the table, and the technical side of it is probably stepping up a little bit better. But you know what I mean? Will that continue when the fans come back? I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
The tempo of the games have been a bit like they say pre-season, like a racing game.
Yeah,
the teams are not going for it how they would do on a normal match day. So, and that's why I think it's difficult, like I say, to motivate the players out there.
Yeah, well, I think Sky and I think TV and obviously the Premier League and the EFL, you know what I mean, they're desperate to get the games on. They're desperate to get a bit of normality back. You know, that obviously it has to happen for promotion and relegation, because you can't have the Premier League having more teams next season. Liverpool had to win the league. Leeds United have got to be given an opportunity to get promoted for me. You know what I mean? If they didn't, it would have been an absolute travesty, because, you know what I mean? And even Brentford, for example, they're on an absolute roller coaster of a season. And if they don't get promoted this season, potentially they're going to lose all the players, because they're going to get good moves because they've had a good season and they're very good footballers, and they deserve an opportunity for me to play in the Premier League. And if that's winners, second, or playoffs, then I hope they do it, because you know what I mean, that's just an example, but you know, it just shows how important it is to have football back.
No, definitely. But being go on, sorry.
I've not gone to
being an ex-Fulham player. I rather Fulham got, but
yeah.
I know he's tight at the top.
Yeah,
there.
Well, it's going to be enthralling, though, Barry, isn't it? You know that. You know what I mean? If you look at teams on paper, you know what I mean. Fulham have got an amazing squad. You know what I mean? Scotty's a great coach. You know what I mean? Young, but you know what I mean. He's got potential to be everything. Yeah. He handles himself really well. You know what I mean? I knew him years ago when he was coming through at Charlton. You know, he's had a great career, and he just took management just like a breath of fresh air. And you know, when you've got someone like Mitrovic leading the line, you've got a chance. You know, I know they struggled on Saturday without him a little bit, and obviously they scored last kick from the set piece. Yeah. But it is what it is. But you know, what I mean, if you can keep your best players, you know what I mean. We've said this about Calaverero, Knockaert, Mitrovic. They've always got
Kearney as well.
Yeah, Kearney. You know, what I mean, the captain who scored the winner in the playoff final last time they went to the playoff final.
Yeah.
They've got a chance. They've been there. They wore the T-shirt. So let's wait and see.
Yeah, exactly. Massive. Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying, and about the crowd noise, the artificial crowd noise. I got a slightly different take on it, only slightly, but I've watched some with some without the crowd noise. First of all, I think it seems to work better on the BBC. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the way they edit their highlights or they do something with it compared to the live games I've seen. There's been quite a big difference. If you watch some of the clips on BBC's website, for instance, the crowd noise seems very much more in line with what's going on. So I don't know if they're doing something with the edit afterwards. But also, when I watched the Cardiff games, the crowd noise seems a lot better. And I don't know whether that's because I'm more familiar with all the chants.
Yeah.
So it feels like natural to hear those chants all the time. And I found myself forgetting that there was no fans there. Whereas when I've watched some other games and I'm sort of less familiar with the chants, even though you recognise the general sort of the rhythm of them, whatever. It's so I do wonder whether that plays a part into how people interpret it or enjoy it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree. You know, I think one thing at one point I will make is what's really being clever is what clubs have done around the seating area, putting the big banners and the commercial side, and some have put pictures of supporters and things. And I think it's really imaginative. I think it's really, really good, and it makes each club individual. You know, that some Man United, for example, have done it to probably advertise all the sponsors, which is fine. And Leeds United, for example, the last game I watched, put supporters' faces and famous faces. People pay to have the picture on, and that's just great, you know, because it gives you an opportunity to showcase what the club's all about. Is it a family club? Is it a business? And it's you know what I mean, it's everyone to their own. But going back to your point, I think it's for me, it's whatever you want to do. You know, I've done everything. I've watched the Germany games with no fans. I watched the Germany games with obviously the crowd noise. I watched the Premier League on mute. I've just tried everything to see what I like. I've tried this watch along, but listen, you know what I mean. I think it depends what game it is as well, and I don't know. Like Barry says, you know what I mean. But when there's a mistake, sometimes I'm intrigued. I want to listen again for another mistake. I just think it's funny. So it is what it is.
Championship football's been better, by the way, without fans. I got to say, than the Premier League. I've enjoyed the Championship much more than the Premier League stuff. So I don't know whether it's because it's over. I think
games are starting to get better though, because I'll use Newcastle for example. Newcastle West Ham the other day. Newcastle West Ham don't really attack very much. You know, because they're both in a similar position. Newcastle don't create chances, but the game the other day was just it was like a reserve game or a friendly game, just attack against defence. And you know, if games can be like that, then people are going to get the excitement back a little bit. And because you know, what I mean, as long as teams aren't fighting for relegation like the Villas and the Norwich, you know what I mean. Hopefully, teams can play with no fear and do what Southampton did yesterday and take the game to a top side, you know.
True, very true, yeah.
So the next bit of news, which we've got, story which we're going to discuss, Mason Greenwood of Manchester United being compared to a young Ronaldo and Rooney by Solskjaer and the media this last couple of weeks a lot. And to be fair, his performances have been incredible. I'd also like to point out, before the England squads are named in a few months' time, that me and Andy were discussing Mason Greenwood for the Euros before it was moved, and I said that Mason Greenwood should go as the Theo Walcott of 2020, and I think he will go now. But what's your thoughts? Because there's a lot of pressure, Barry, to be putting on someone who's only recently turned 18 to start comparing him to one of the greatest players that's ever played the game, and probably the best English player that's ever played, for England and in the Premier League. It's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's at a big club as well. But he has played really well, but for me, it's still early days. Every time he's played, he's scored goals and that. He's scored in every competition he's played in. So the qualities are definitely there, but he seems level-headed as well. So fair play to him. If he just keep going the way he's going, he will be a top player, definitely.
I think that the pressure that managers put on him, though, you know what I mean, in that statement is pretty steep and pretty. He doesn't need it, you know what I mean. For me, he could just play it down a little bit and give him the platform what he needs to do, because I think the pressure of playing now for him is nothing. You know what I mean? He's not playing in front of any fans. He's probably used to doing this in the youth team, in the reserves, playing at Old Trafford with nobody there. When there's 75,000 fans at Old Trafford and he's doing it against Sheffield United and he misplaces a pass, potentially he's going to have 75,000 people on his back. You know what I mean? Because they're not used to people giving the ball away. But he's going to do it. He's going to make mistakes because he's a young player. But this has given him, for example, an opportunity to showcase his talent. Because, like Barry just said there, he's an excellent player. He's played in the Europa League, scored tons of goals in that. To be fair, he's played in the what cup is it now? Carling Cup. I'm going back. What is it? Carling Cup? What
Milk
cup is it
Cup,
now?
we call it.
Whatever cup it is now. It's the League Cup in it. Whatever cup. He scored goals in there.
Yeah,
League FA Cup. He scored against Brighton the other day. He scored. Yeah, and he's scored against Sheffield United a couple of goals. So his talent's obviously there, like Barry said. But for me, keep the pressure off him, because do you know when the Beckhams were coming through, the Scholes, the Rashfords, even the Rooneys, you know what I mean? Yes, he came with a price tag, but nobody needs to get pressure put on the back and put on the shoulders. You know, you let him enjoy it, and for now, because pressure can be a horrible thing, especially at a football club like that. It's a huge football club with huge expectations, and hopefully it doesn't have a negative effect on him.
Do you think, though, that playing with no fans is going to help these, whether it's him or other young players playing first-team football for the first time and having a proper run of it? Do you think playing with no fans is actually going to help them settle, because they get to play with the first team regularly, competitive games, but they haven't got that pressure of, a massive groan when there's a misplaced pass.
I don't know about helping them, but I think it would just encourage them to do things how they probably wouldn't do on a normal match day. But they say the crowd do play a big part in how people play, how people perform, and like I said, when things are not going right, can he turn it around? Well, I think he's young enough to, so. Give him his due.
Well, Barry, you know what I mean. You just stuck on a point there. What I'd like to make. You know what I mean. And about a crowd. You know what I mean. Having an effect on a player, having an effect on the game. You know what I mean. I couldn't think of anything worse than scoring a goal in a competitive game without the fans being there. Because as a centre forward, you score goals. Barry, you know more than me. You scored miles more goals than I did. But you know what I mean. Imagine scoring a big goal or a hat trick and nobody being there to celebrate. It would just be the most surreal thing, and it just takes the edge off a little bit for me, and I do feel really sorry for those kind of players. What's happening to because
100%.
That could be your last goal. It could be your last ever goal in football because you just never know for some people. So it's what I mean. It does take it off a little bit for me.
Definitely. I agree totally.
Yes, 100%. So in one word, guys, will Mason Greenwood be in the England squad for the Euros next summer? Andy?
No, not in the Euros, but I think he'll get an opportunity in the squad.
Barry?
Beforehand.
I think he'll be in the squad. I think if he maintain his form, I reckon he might be a starter eventually.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you look at I think he scored 18 goals this season, and when you consider the amount of games he's played, it's an incredible stat because he hasn't started. He hasn't started every week.
No. But Si, we made the point though, didn't we, that if it was happening this summer, Harry Kane wouldn't have been fit. So there's your main centre forward out the reckoning. So he would have had a massive opportunity to stake a claim and have a place now because he's already one step up the pecking order. And if he's scoring goals, he's going to play, or he's going to definitely be in the squad. So he's, with Harry coming back. You know what I mean, and scoring a goal now and again. You know what I mean. Obviously, he's been out a while. It's going to take a while to get back. And Sterling scoring goals. It's sometimes young players need to be given the opportunity to play to see how they can do. Sink or swim moments. Sometimes I think.
No, definitely. Yeah.
100%. And then the final story which we're going to discuss looks like it's going to be the transfer saga of the season. Bayern Munich saying that Thiago Alcantara, but everyone knows him as Thiago, is leaving Bayern Munich in the summer. When he signed for Bayern, was like the never-ending transfer saga of was he going to go to Bayern, was he going to go to Man United, was he going to go to Liverpool, and all these different teams. I think it looks like we're going to get it again. I don't want to spend too long on it, but Barry, first of all, do you rate him? And second of all, where would you think would be a good fit for him to go?
Yeah, I think he's a quality player. I think he controls tempo in most games and that. So I think I'm being a Spurs fan. I would like him to come to Spurs, but I don't think that's an option. But he probably will go to probably Liverpool and boast to them. Even though they're champions, they're going to try and push on from there, I think.
What about you, Ant?
Will Pep take him to Man City with Silva leaving? You know what I mean, to fill a gap. It's just, listen, is the world's his oyster. If he wants to go to Juventus, if he wants to try his luck in the Premier League, and you know what I mean, it's a place to be. And listen, wherever he goes, he's going to make that team go to another level. You know what I mean? Because if he like Barry said there, if he goes to Liverpool, for me, he'll go into that side. He'll push him on another level. You know what I mean? If it's instead of Keita or if instead of Jordan Henderson, he's going to take somebody's place because he is that special and he keeps the ball really well. He can see a pass and he can dictate and dominate games. So you know what I mean? Why wouldn't the best clubs in the world want to take him?
100%. Johnny Wish just texted me because he said he can't get into the YouTube chat. He DM'd me on Twitter and he said that he thinks that Thiago will go to Man United and play alongside Bruno Fernandes and Pogba. I don't think he'll go there, to be honest with you. I don't think they need him. He's not the type of midfielder which they need currently. However, that's some midfield trio, Johnny. just before we go into to Barry's career, now we move on from this. There is a couple of questions, so we'll get them in now. Rob Boyle asked, he said, talking of characters, Barry, what was Mohammed Al Fayed like?
He was a chuckle, and he used to come in the changing room, and he used to say to us, "Have we got big balls?" And we're like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Like for the game, big balls, big balls, big balls." And we said, "Oh, are we ready for the game?" In other words, and we're like, "Yeah, always ready." And that. But yeah, he was a character. We spent 5 days down in 5 Lakes, and he came down for a couple of days. So he spent a couple of days. But yeah, he transformed the club, and he transformed the whole place. And that. But he was a good man to have around.
And James asks, Barry, who's the best player that you've played alongside?
Best player alongside, I've got to say, is Louis Sahar, and I'm talking about I'm talking about best player, not best striker. I played along with best player because he had it all. He had 2 great feet, great pace, strength, and he could score a goal or 2. Yeah.
Did you see the potential in him, Barry? Did you see? Did you see obviously the career he had, the moves he got? Playing for Man United and fitting into that side really well as well. By the way,
exactly.
Wayne Rooney said the same thing because Wayne said that perfect strike partner because he took the pressure off him. He led the line really well, took the pressure off him. So he said similar things that you're saying.
He played himself down. He was like, because I remember we signed Steve Marley because Louis came in for £2 million, and we signed Steve Marley for 11 million quid, and after the first training session, I'm like, Louis, I'm not being funny, but he can't even lace your boots, mate. And Louis was like, no, he's good, he's blah, blah, blah. But Louis always never gave himself credit because I thought he was a great player. And then Man United hardly makes mistakes when they buy someone. So buying him was So and he went there, but barring his injuries, he would have been a legend there too.
Yeah, well, the thing is, though, they always had that kind of player, didn't they? You know what I mean? So potential-wise, like you said there, they never made a mistake for me buying a centre forward. You know what I mean? The mistakes they made predominantly with goalkeepers, but you know what I mean? That had the big centre forwards, the Andy Coles, the Dwight Yorks, the Louis Sahars, the Van Nistelrooys. You know what I mean? So they did it forever. So you know what I mean? He fit that mould really, really well.
Yeah. And final question then before we move on, Barry. Al wanted to know, he said, hi guys, how you doing? Barry, who was your favourite strike partner to play with and where was your favourite stadium to be in? He also asked who was the best manager which you played under, which obviously you answered earlier.
Yeah, favourite strike partner would be Louis, and because we scored a load of goals in that championship season and going up. And it was a quality squad to be in, and we just took the championship that season.
So we're going to move on to your career now, Bar. What I would like to know, though, first of all, is what's your very first football memory?
I'll probably say watching Tottenham on TV, hence why I'm a Tottenham fan. And we're watching Tottenham and watching Tottenham style of play. I've got 2 older brothers, and one's a Liverpool fan and one's a West Ham fan. I shouldn't say West Ham, but
mixed bag here, Barry, isn't it? Mixed bag.
Yeah, exactly. So we just all like our different teams. So I like the way our Spurs play.
We also, all three, haven't had much to shout about over the last 25 years as well, have you? You know what I mean? All 3 teams have struggled. So the joys of being a football fan.
Exactly. Yeah.
The joys of being a football fan.
Well, that's it. And we've never changed teams now. I know fans never change teams, but as brothers, we're through thick and thin. We stuck with our team. For now, my middle brothers are very happy because 30 years, Liverpool's done it.
Yeah, it's a long time. Also, my first question then is going to throw something like your supported club then, Barry. So every time you played against Spurs, then how did you feel then when you were playing against the team that you supported, the team that you grew up supporting? You know what I mean? Obviously, you watched them, as you said, as a kid, the style of play. So how did it feel to play at White Hart Lane or to play against?
It was a buzz. It was a buzz played against them, and I've got a decent record against Tottenham as well, because I think I've played against them maybe 15 times. I think I've scored about 10 times. So it's one of them clubs where I done well against, hoping maybe one day might have been signed there. But I'll go back to a brief story. I think when I was at Bristol Rovers, Tottenham were listed to come down to watch me, and Holly told me pre-game, this is probably the worst game I played in my life. Honestly, the worst game I played in my life.
Barry, there's nothing worse, is there? There's nothing worse than knowing something before a game. I'm sure people do it on purpose. Do it on purpose to put you off.
No, but Holly, the manager, he knew I was a Tottenham fan. So he said to me, by the way, Tottenham will come down to watch you. So what do I do? Everything I don't usually do. Trying too hard to stand out, and it's probably the worst game I've played in my life. And that, so So
James just asked there. He said, "Did you ever celebrate scoring against Tottenham?"
Funny enough, no, I didn't. I just like we.
Why was that then, Barry? Was that out of respect?
Yeah, that's my team. So I scored when I was at Fulham. I scored at White Hart Lane. I scored 2 goals. We won 3-0. Scored 2, set up one, set up the third one, and I couldn't celebrate. And then Fulham printed a T-shirt. Fulham printed a T-shirt because that was the one at the time. That was our best away win in the Premiership. And Fulham, they printed a T-shirt, and it had me with stone face and Boro sliding across me with his arms out, but my face was just stern. And so the fans were showing me the T-shirt. I said, "Yeah, well, I should have smiled, I know, but it was just one of them things, really."
I think so. That's what it is, Doug. I never got an opportunity to play against. Obviously, I support Middlesbrough. I was brought up as a Middlesbrough, and I was lucky enough to play for them. And I never got an opportunity to play against them. And I'm pretty glad, really, in a way that I didn't. Part of me wanted to, but then if I did, I was probably the same mindset of what do you do if you score, what do you do if your team wins, and you know what I mean. Sometimes you catch yourself in a tangle, a mess. So sometimes it's best just to keep it separate.
No, exactly, yeah, spot on, yeah.
Where did your football career start, Barry? Like what was your first sort of academy team, or where you got spotted?
I've never done no academy team. I was playing for a non-league team called Wheels and Hawkeye, and I represented the county, but I was still playing subs on a Saturday, and I represented Middlesex County against Hertfordshire County, and that's where Stevenage, Paul Fairclough was the manager of the Hertfordshire team, and I remember being on a coach driving to the game, and the Middlesex coach is saying, "Don't worry, we're going to get you a move in that, and we're going to try and get you paid to earn playing instead of paying subs." So, and they said if their manager tries to pull you after the game, and by the way, I was playing left back at the time. I wasn't always a striker. Oh, okay. So, and after the game, as they said, if their manager tried to pull you, after the game, I came in the change room. Paul Fairclough called me and my mate and said, "Do you want to keep paying subs or you want to get paid?" And we're like, "Well, that's a no-brainer." So we got back in the coach with the Middlesex managers, and I said, "Well," he said, "we can come to Stevenage because he's the manager of Stevenage plus the county." So that's where it started for me. Getting some from not paying subs to going to play for Stevenage.
What was he like, Barry, Paul Fairclough? Because obviously he's got a good reputation. He was obviously England's England's semi-professional England manager, wasn't he, at the time as well? He's got a really good reputation about bringing players through. Because a lot of players that he's played under him have gone on, like yourself, to play bigger and better things at the top level.
Yeah, he could motivate the players really well, and he had this psyche in him that he get the squad together and get the best out of them. And he had a good coach as well, Paul Peterson. He was assistant to him, and they had a system of getting players to them together and getting us playing well. So that's where it stemmed from. So, like I said, I went there from playing left back, but I think he wanted my mate more than he wanted me because I was playing left back, and he said, "Oh, I know you two are friends, so you can come along too." So we ended up both of us signing. My mate Phil Simpson, so we end up signing together.
Quality. So when you obviously signed for Stevenage, did you see this as an opportunity to use it as a stepping stone, or did you think, I've made it? Or what was your thought process involved when you signed there?
It was just to play at a level, because Stevenage were the league below the conference at the time.
Yeah.
And so we ended up going there just for the love of playing football, and someone's telling me they're going to pay me for it. So
yeah,
that was the turning point of thinking, well, I love playing football first and foremost.
Yeah.
Someone turned around and said, instead of paying £3 subs, I'll pay you to come and play. So,
well, exactly, and I think sometimes people forget the opportunity to go and play football and get paid for it as well. You know what I mean? It's a dream. You know what I mean? That it's a hobby first and foremost, which you love doing, and then someone offers you to do it. It's just brilliant. You know what I mean? It's healthy. Your fitness. You know what I mean? The laugh and the banter you have in the changing room. You know that. It's second to none. You can never get those times and chances back. But going back to the beginning, then Barry. So, did you think your first game at Stevenage would see you playing 800 plus games in your career when you first started out? Because you know what I mean. You always had an amazing career, a long career, longer than probably anybody I've ever come across. But yeah, well, exactly, it's never ending. But did you think it was going to last as long as it did when you started?
No, I had to see it as just playing football. Yeah. So where it's taken me, it's just me just playing football like I've done from being a kid. Yeah. So I've never looked at it as being a job. It's something I've always enjoyed, and I think that's why I've stayed in and carried on playing and to this day. And I've just signed up again for Mersham to be player assistant manager again. So for the forthcoming season.
Yeah. So obviously being obviously an extremely experienced player, I won't call you old because that's disrespectful. Experienced, Barry. That's what we like to be called, isn't it? So experienced. Do the young players look up to you? You know, I was spoke to somebody today about a similar thing, a similar experience. So do players look up to you as someone that can be a role model, or do they just go their own way and just do what they think's right?
She's still there.
Right, so that's a funny thing, because a lot of the youngsters probably would not have heard of me. So a lot of, like in Mersham squad, a lot of them are to find it. Still there? Yeah.
Yeah, still here, mate.
Yeah, we're still here.
Hello.
Still here, mate. Yeah.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate.
Can hear you. Right.
Can you hear me, guys?
Okay. And you keep going. I'm just going to quickly message Barry.
Barry, can you hear me?
Can
you hear me?
Yeah. So a lot of the youngsters didn't know who I was. Oh yeah. So a lot of the youngsters, so they didn't know who I was until like the coaches or the manager would say,
I think sometimes though with that you get.
I can hear you guys.
With that, sometimes you get.
I can hear you, Andy.
Yeah, cause good, mate. Yeah. So sometimes I think you get with
can
that.
Can you hear me? No.
Can you hear me? Yeah. I can, mate. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Right.
Yeah. So a lot of the youngsters wouldn't have known the levels that I played at, and until they get told and they realise, so I'm not just for the sake of talking. I've got a bit of know-how.
Well, I think, and I'd like to think that the players will enjoy playing with you. That you lead the line still really well, and young players can bounce off you, because you can't beat that experience. You can never get that experience back. And when young players come through, and we had the same conversation ourselves with other people. Some kids think that they've made it before they have, and it's just sometimes a little bit disrespectful to experienced players.
Yeah, I think experienced players sometimes they young players can look at them in different ways, can't they? Sometimes they can be looked at as kind of people to go to for advice, and then I think sometimes other young players might look at them more as kind of in their space of the team. I guess it just depends on the person.
Sorry, Andy.
I know, it was just saying that sometimes obviously young players don't listen to the advice what's given them. Where, you know, the way that I was brought up, that I would always be seeing the experienced players as a go-to role model. Listen to advice, probably sit back and take a step back and learn from them instead of jumping in 2 feet myself. You know, it's the only way forward sometimes.
Right. If
go back.
Exactly. But heavy players are different, because some players who have been coaching, they are listening to my every word, and they take it on board, and then they get the have a bunch who just think, he's talking again.
Yeah, but sometimes with that though, Barry, that, you know what I mean, that you said earlier on about Ian Holloway, and you obviously worked under some other unbelievable managers, Kevin Keegan.
I can hear you guys loud and clear.
That you listen to those kind of people out of respect, you know what I mean? And I like to think that when you're talking as a coach or a manager or assistant manager, or even as a player, experienced player, that the young players should listen and respect that as just an individual.
Yeah, let's say some do and some don't. You can see that some of them rolling their eyes and all sorts now. You think, well, I'm not here just to appease you. I'm here to help you.
Totally, mate. So let's move back then. So obviously we spoke to you about Stevenage. Obviously in total you scored a total of, well, if you read their statistics, do you know how many goals you scored in total, Barry? Without me reading it out. For everybody.
No, I don't. I'm not.
So apparently it's 238 goals. 238 goals, which is just unbelievable. So for me, I work it out as a goal every probably just under 3 games, which is, for a centre forward, that's unbelievable. So have you got a favourite goal from your career? A favourite moment, or a favourite goal? What's meant the most to you?
I think my first goal in the league for Bristol Rovers, I think that put me on the map, and getting a move from Stevenage from Conference to League One, and people saying, well, and it's a big gamble, and really can he play at this level, and scoring on your debut, there's no better feeling, really.
So obviously you said there about being a gamble, so potentially it was a gamble. Did you feel the pressure, obviously, with the difference in the conference and League One? Did you see the standard of another level?
I felt like I acclimatized really well to it. And on my debut as well, I got man of the match, and I felt like, I've done myself proud, and I wasn't at my depth. I didn't feel like I shouldn't be here, and in the way I played, I think I showed that, and then end up scoring in my next 2 games as well. So that's like through and about. So that's settled me in, and I thought, yeah, I'm good enough for this level. Sometimes you can doubt yourself and think, how am I good enough? Now I was in the conference last season.
Yeah, well, I think I don't think sometimes it's you doubting yourself. I think it's other people probably putting doubt in your head. I think it's probably no, I wouldn't even say support. It's probably the media sometimes putting more pressure on you, the expectation. But you said earlier on about Ian Holloway. So was Ian Holloway a huge factor at Bristol Rovers? With obviously the way you played. So
massive.
How did he affect? I came across him as an opposition manager, and he was amazing. You know what I mean? His respect after defeats, coming into the away changing room, home changing room, after playoff final, came to see all of us, shook all of our hands. He was amazing, and I've always remembered certain moments. So you mean the respect of the man. You know what I mean? Regardless of people's opinion and the way he handles himself in certain situations, but the man himself, for me, second to none. But how did he affect your career then?
Exactly. Right. So the season I went to Bristol Rovers, he tried to buy me the year before, and they couldn't agree a fee. So he called me and said, "If you're still there next year, I'll be coming to get you." And I stayed at Stevenage for that next season, and true to his word, he came in, and like Bristol Rovers, like I said, we were tipped to go down, and when I was on the train going up to Bristol, I had about 3 phone calls from 3 different clubs saying, "Don't sign yet. We've got this, we've got that," and blah, blah. And I was like, "Well, I'm going to speak to them." No one signs straight away when they go. So I said, and I went with my brother to go to Bristol, and I went there. And as soon as I went there, he was saying, "This is the deal." I can safely say, I can say this. I was on the same money when I was on that Stevenage at Bristol Rovers, so it wasn't a money factor. It was just to go the step higher, just to see if I can and improve myself. And him coming back a year later, true to his word, made my mind up that I'll pay for this manager.
That fills you full of confidence, though, doesn't it, Barry? That, you know what I mean. That I'll go back to
guys.
I'll go back to your point, what you just said there, Barry, about
you just. Did you get that, guys, or not?
Yeah, got it, mate.
Yeah.
I got your point there when you said.
Sorry, Andy.
I can hear you, mate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Guys, you still there?
Yeah. Right. Barry, if you go out and then come back in, should reset itself.
And it's going a bit.
Technology issues. You can't
do anything guys.
About it.
Barry, log out, log back in again.
Hello.
Fascinating, though, Si. Fascinating about Ian Holloway. You know that I said that I said there about my interactions with him. You know, he's like mad as a box of frogs. You see him dancing around the touchline, changing rooms area. But you know, what I mean, like he's one of the old guard, and he's one of the probably the nicest people you meet within football. And I put him probably in the same ilk as a Neil Warnock. You know that he's a championship manager extraordinaire. That he comes and helps clubs from the doldrums a little bit, and as a lower league expert. So. Fascinating though what Barry says about
and I
what
think
he said there about
for young players to learn from. Like,
well, exactly.
Now, as a player, assistant player manager.
Do you know what's a breath of fresh air for me when he said there that he moves to League One from the conference for no more money, and then becomes a professional footballer. I just think it's that will never happen nowadays. You know that people are motivated by money. Not motivated by playing anymore, which is disheartening. It's obviously not nice, but yeah, it's absolutely fabulous. You know, it's just refreshing to hear from Barry.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And hopefully we'll get Barry back now. He's on holiday, so he's down in his caravan, so his connection's not great. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do about that from a technology point of view. So what could we talk about? Let's talk about Middlesbrough's results for the weekend, mate. What did you make of that?
The result was probably better than the performance, which probably says it all. And if I was the kind of person to sit here and swear, and I probably listen, this is a desperate time and desperate measures are needed. You know that they brought in a manager to change things around. He did a really good job in his first game. He can only work what he's got. And this is the thing. You know, I put a post out on Sunday evening after the game, and people are saying things about the manager. People are saying things about the chairman, the ex-manager, and one thing that people are forgetting here and not mentioning is the players. The players have got to take huge responsibility. Let's not make no qualms about it. You know that the players run a football club because players are the most important people there, and if players underperform, the club underperforms and the club suffer. And at the minute, I don't know why, but too many players are underperforming. They're not putting the performance levels in what they need, and they are where they are. You know that at the minute the table does look bad. Obviously being in the bottom three, but I'm hoping Millwall this week and they can get out of it, because I don't see it as an option. You know, this Wigan thing's hanging over everybody. Yeah. One thing I have heard is if they stay up, or they're not. Sorry, if they don't go in the bottom three, they're going to get 12 points deducted, so they will go down. If they do finish in the bottom three, then the points are going to get carried on for next season in League One. Listen, just make a decision, and the teams can just plan for the season, because this season's the most important season. We've had too much disruption, so we just need to carry it on. You know, it's not right. So just end it there and move on.
Right now,
brilliant, Barry.
Are you okay, mate? Right.
Hi, chap. Mate.
Right, Barry. So we were talking about Ian Holloway and the Ian Holloway factor. How imperative he is for a football club. How important he was for you. So what was he? What was he like to play for? What was his strengths and what was his weaknesses, if he had any?
I think his strength was getting players to play to their maximum potential, and not be scared to make a mistake. And he would encourage the lesser players just to do their job, what they're there for. If you're not a good head of the ball, I don't want you to be doing that job. If you're a great passer, get on the ball and pass the ball. So there were times when he would encourage the senior players to have a word with the rest of the team instead of him doing it, and the players will take that on. But and he would motivate us from start to finish as well. He was a great manager.
I think some people get confused sometimes about the difference between a coach and a manager. That obviously managers motivate, they get the best out of people. Coaches do all the stuff on the training ground. And for me, Neil Warnock in a similar mould to Ian Holloway, that they get the right people around them. You know what I mean? That they play to their strengths. That they get the coaches around them, the best people around them, and then they get the best out of the players, because training ground is important. Yes, it is. But match day, when the players go over that white line, as long as if they're running through a brick wall for the football club, they've got an opportunity. You know that I've just been speaking about when you were back logging on about Middlesbrough. That you know what I mean, that Jose Mourinho could be managing Middlesbrough at the minute and he wouldn't be able to make a difference, because players at the minute are not doing what they should be doing. So you know what I mean. It's a catch-22, and Ian Holloway gets people to run through a brick wall, which for me is just the best policy and the best way to be as a manager.
No, exactly, 100%, 100%. And as long as the players trust the manager, like you say, manage the players. He doesn't have to be on the train to be coaching them. Manage the players now individually, and that's what Holloway done for me and the teams I played for with him.
So obviously, Barry, you've got a really good relationship with him. You know what I mean, as a player. You know what I mean. He obviously came to you before one of the games and told you that obviously Spurs were coming to watch you, etc. So when you chose to leave, or when obviously offer came on the table, was a relationship between you that good that he was happy for you to go and leave and go on to pastures new to progress forward?
Oh yeah. I think the club on a whole they was happy. But as soon as, funny enough, the season finished, and Bristol City put in a £2 million bid for me, and that was the first bid that came in to the club. And,
was that allowed, Barry? Is that what would that? How would that have gone down? Bristol Rovers, Bristol City.
There you go. So, but me, I was a Gashead, a Bristol Rovers player, and the club accepted the bid. Rovers accepted the bid because they bought me for 250,000, and within a year they're getting the £2 million.
Yeah.
So they were happy for me, and they called me in and said, "Well, we've had a bid, Bristol City," and I said no.
Fair play. You said no just because it was rival.
Yeah, 100%. Because I saw myself. I loved Bristol Rovers. I saw myself as a Gashead, as the Rovers fan as well. So, and I said no. So I turned it down, and I started the season with Rovers, and then I think it was November. Having started fairly well, the start of season, Fulham came in, and I'm a Londoner, so it was a no-brainer. I'm coming back to London, and I'm coming to a club that is growing as well.
But obviously, when you signed to Fulham, Barry, did you ever imagine they would ever end up where they are? Obviously, where they are now and where they went to, because when you went there, there were obviously a few divisions outside where they wanted to be, where the chairman and manager wanted to be, but everything was in place.
That's the funny, exactly, and that's a funny thing, right? So that season we was in the same league, League One, and we both lost in our playoff games. So my theory was, if they'd have won it, if Fulham had won it and gone up, they probably would not have bought me.
Okay.
So we both lost in the playoffs. They lost to Holdham, and we lost to Northampton.
Yeah.
And I think if Fulham had gone up, they probably wouldn't have come back down and bought me. But we was in the same league when they bought me in League One, and that's where we grew from there and pushed them from there.
But obviously going to Fulham at the time, obviously you played with people like Chrissy Coleman.
Hello, guys.
Can you hear us?
Still there?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah. He's gone again, I think.
You gone?
Yeah, I think so.
Chuck him out.
In the hands of technology.
Yeah.
Here is Barry.
Hello. Yeah.
You still there, Baz?
I'm here.
Right.
I'm here.
So when you
Can
played,
you hear me, guys?
Yeah, I can hear you, Barry.
I know. I can hear you guys.
Right, good.
I'm still here.
Good lad. So when you went to Fulham, Barry, you played with Chrissy Coleman, Paul Pescasolido, which is the best name,
guys, yeah.
best name ever, by the way, in football. But obviously these times were Fulham with obviously King Kev as your gaffer. How did you settle in there straight away?
I found it tough. I think the price tag might have played a part in that. I went from paying subs to get sold for 250,000, and then to get bought for £2 million. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a whirlwind.
Yeah.
And I didn't adjust well initially at Fulham and that. And I think the fans thought I came to take Pesh's place. So on my debut, I got booed by my home fans.
Which
was hard.
For what reason, Barry?
You still there, guys?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
For what reason?
I can hear you.
For what reason,
Because
Barry? Why did you get booed?
they thought I came to take. Because they thought I came to take Pesh's place, and Pesh was the fans' favourite, and I don't think we played my debut. I don't think Pesh was fit, or Keegan left him out. So they when my name got announced, number 15, Barry Hayles, started booing him. My brother was there, and he's like, "Why are they booing him for? What's he done?" And then I was trying to explain to him and that. So I had to win the fans over as well.
But isn't that football law, Barry? That, you know what I mean? Obviously, you were there for a few years. That Steve Marley came in, Louis Motor came in, Louis Sahar came in, other centre Carlisle Riedler came in. That they all came in to potentially take your place. So it's just football, is it not?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's part and parcel. But making your debut and getting booed by your home fans, it did affect me. It did affect me, and I don't think I scored after 4 or 5 games. And it did affect me. At one point, my brother he was saying to me, "You might as well leave," and I don't understand it. But it worked itself out, and then scoring my first goal. That settled everything.
I think
there, guys.
can you hear me? Yeah, I think from the outside,
still there, guys.
Can you hear me, Barry? You there, Barry?
Hello. Sorry, Andy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, unfortunately, in the hands of technology, mate.
Yeah,
and there's nothing we can do about it.
No.
So I think what we might have to do is kind of call it a day soon.
Yeah. Anybody got any questions?
Yeah,
which
get
would
some
like us
questions
to answer?
in.
Yeah,
get some questions in. We'll do them now.
Any questions, and we'll wrap it up.
And then I got a few ideas. We'll do a makeup show, and we'll get Barry back on.
If we get 7 good questions in here, I will announce who's on the show next. Now
that is exciting because I cannot wait. And people say I'm anti-Liverpool. Wow. See, I can't keep a secret, mate. I'm telling you, can't keep a secret about some questions. Let's have a look. Will Cardiff make the playoffs?
Listen, we spoke about this on Friday, and I was getting a little bit. I thought I was a little bit hard done by in the group on in the chat, saying that Derby County would be in the playoffs by the time the weekend was finished. Well, Derby drew. And Cardiff won. So Cardiff are 4 points in the playoffs at the minute. Do I think they're going to make it? If they don't, it'll be a travesty from this position they've got themselves into, because they're in form. They're confident. The big players are coming to the table, by the way. The Joe Rawls, they're keeping clean sheets. I've been so impressed with Smithies in goal. I think he's
really taken his chance, hasn't he?
Definitely. Do you know, he started the season. We both questioned it. I'll be honest. I was really questioning it. Etheridge got himself an opportunity, and then he's back in. So for me, play the best players who deserve to play.
Barry, you back again, mate?
Hello.
He was Barry.
I'm back again.
Good lad.
There we go.
Hello, guys.
There we go.
Hi, mate.
Yeah, I'm back.
I can't remember what
sorry,
we were talking.
It keeps
Sorry, don't worry.
off on that. Sorry, one sec.
Another question we had was
no, we were talking about. Sorry. Yeah, no, we were talking about players coming in and taking players.
Yeah,
spots,
Fulham. Yeah,
like
I just think it's part and parcel of football. You know, that we had the same conversation on Friday night's show about Cardiff City. That obviously we got promoted via the playoffs, and I was lucky enough to score the winning goal. But in my Cardiff City career, that was the worst thing that happened to me because I scored a goal which got us promoted, and we were bringing better players in, and it was just you take it on the chinks, it's part and parcel of football, and I just think supporters, if they want the football club to progress and get to another level, Barry Hayles did that by taking Fulham to another level, and then Louis Sahar and Steve Marley and everybody else took the club to another level, and it's just the joys of football.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm saying clubs grow. If they're building on stuff.
Yeah.
Clubs grow, and then people. Yeah.
I'd like to talk to you, Barry, about Kevin Keegan because you know what I mean. Obviously, I think as a centre forward, you know what I mean. You're always. My dad told me everything about Kevin Keegan, and I've seen all the videos at Liverpool and when he went to Hamburg and obviously Newcastle and as a manager, and you know what I mean. But what was he like as a man, and what was he like to work for?
It was brilliant. I got a story. So my first week signing for Fulham, my car, it was in the garage. So I got the train to training. So as we had a meal after training, and I said, I need a lift to the station. And he said to me, where's your car? I said, I was in the garage for a couple of days. So he said to me, no, instead of going to take the train, take my car for a few days. So I was at the club for a couple of days, and Kevin Keegan brought me in his car for like 3 or 4 days.
Hero, saviour. Well, do you know what though? Those kind of things though that you remember because
exactly.
They help you settle in, because if you didn't have that, you would have been lost. You're stuck in a new club. You're stuck in a place where you know what I mean. You just seem just a better way to settle in as a club. You know, now brilliant. That's a great story. That. So we spoke about we dropped a little bit there, Barry, about players coming in.
Good, and he
go on. Carry on, Barry.
Sorry again.
Carry on, mate. What were you saying?
About say it again.
What were you saying there, mate?
Again. Oh no. So but you went on about Kevin.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. No. I mean, yeah. So players will come in. Oh, we've gone back.
Yeah. Okay. There was a couple more questions in there.
Yeah, I was going to how many more questions? I've answered two. So Martin's got a good question.
Who offers the best broadband? It's got to be working. And Richie says, can he move his caravan?
EE, just get a sponsor in there. EE broadband's the best.
Yeah, that's it. Who else we got? Leslie says, will Leeds bottle it in the last few games and end up in the playoffs like most seasons? Probably, I would think so.
I don't think they will, you know. Do you know, we always speak about Paddy Bamford, right? And
he's going to be a hero, isn't he, after all the grief we've given him?
Paddy scored 2 in 2, and he's just starting to find form at the right time. And I think West Brom will bottle it. I do. I don't know why. I've just got a feeling that Brentford...
They haven't hit the ground running, have they, since the restart? No. That seems to have really taken the wind out of their sails, whereas Brentford and Leeds look pretty good.
We're on about players who respond to fans, and I don't know. Every team's different side. Middlesbrough, you know what I mean? Different ends of the table, yes, but
Middlesbrough
Blackburn
desperately
Rovers
need Warnock at the moment, mate.
I don't know what they need. They need a miracle. They need to beat Millwall on through the week. That's what they need.
Well, I said they were going to go down, didn't I? Middlesbrough in our show the other day.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It'd be a travesty if they do.
I hope they don't, mate. I really do.
Listen, it'd be a travesty if they do. But teams sometimes take a step back to take five forward. You know that if that's what's got to happen, that's what's got to happen. I'll be devastated if they do, because it's my club and I still live in the area. But listen, you know what I mean. No one's got the divine right and deserves to stay up after the season that they've had. So you've got to take it on the chin sometimes. I'm old enough, daft enough to understand what's involved in football.
Kelly says she'd rather have West Brom in the playoffs than Brentford, and I agree with that, I got to say, which is weird because West Brom have got a fantastic team, but I would rather play them than Brentford.
Listen, Si, we spoke about Brentford, we spoke about Ollie Watkins, and we spoke about the attacking players, the attacking threat, and even defensively with Janssen. That they've got a real good balance in it, and I'll be honest, I'm so surprised in where it's come from, because I didn't see them coming anywhere near at the start of the season. I see them as a nice club. I see them play some lovely football and attacking football, but the season what they're having, you know what I mean? They play Charlton on Tuesday, and I don't see anything apart from a Charlton win, and you know what I mean? A Brentford win, and if they win there. You know what I mean? They close the gap again, and that's what they need to do. You know, I know West Brom won yesterday, but it's just going to go down the wire, I believe.
100%, mate. Right, I'm gonna put Barry back in now. We'll have one last go, see if we can get this going. If we struggle, then we'll probably.
What we're going to do? We're just going to hit some questions for him.
Yeah. If people want to just jump some questions in the chat, and we'll get him some questions to finish off, and hopefully the connection will stay true.
I've got a couple of questions for him.
Right.
Hi, Barry.
Back, Barry.
Sorry. It keeps. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
You're right. It's technology.
It just keeps.
It's all right, mate. We're going to get some questions from obviously the viewers and things, and some questions we've got from ourselves, mate. So I've got two questions from a friend of yours, from Jamie. I won't name his surname, but you know what we're talking about. His first question is, Barry says, how many hours did it take you to grow your beard?
Oh, see, this is the first time I've had a beard in my life, so I don't know how to treat it that. But it is a lockdown beard, so for 13 weeks, I think it is.
Like it. That's the same as mine, but mine's not as good as yours. Mine's well, to be honest, it's quite similar. His second question is are you scared or allergic of mosquitoes?
I wouldn't say I'm scared or allergic, but
tell the story, Barry. Tell us a story. Tell us a story.
We went to Thailand, and I bought this net, and I got told if I sleep in the net, I won't get bitten in there. And so from head to toe, I slept in the net for one night, and then I realised no, that's not the way forward. And a few of the boys came in and saw me.
But Barry, now bear in mind, sorry, this is your. Did you win it twice? You won the World Cup twice?
Three times.
Sorry, apologies. Jamie won it twice. Yeah, three-time World Cup winner. Yeah, Jamie on his head twice.
Yeah.
So tell everybody what's that all about, because that's obviously a very good tournament for players who come out the game and things. So obviously you're still in the game, but tell people what that's about.
Well, listen, a tournament based in Thailand, and it's countries get an invite, and there's normally about 8 to 10 countries, and a lot of them have got hex players from around their countries now, and we represent England, and it's a good workout. It's based over playing times, based over like 6 days, and you're playing five of them days and that, which is a bit strenuous on the body and that. But it's called the Senior World Cup. It weren't obviously we was meant to play last month, but because of the virus, that's been cancelled. So maybe we'll probably go back next year and give it a go again.
So is you know what I mean? You tell us some of the players who played, because obviously I know of them, and I know quite a lot of players who went. But tell the viewers the kind of players who went.
Well, Peter Beagrie played, and Andy Tyler,
top player.
Yeah, Mark Saunders played for the Gillingham as well. We had Dion Burton playing last year. Sean Davis came last year too. And yeah, it's a good squad that we got to the final, but we lost in the final. And Iran, they're normally a strong squad as well, and they got a lot of ex-players as well. So they're fairly strong. So and you got the likes of America, Scotland, Taiwan, Japan, and Australia. So yeah, it's a good mix.
Apparently, Barry, you missed out your two best players, your two strike partners from that trip.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Jamie Clark. And
Pricey.
Yes. Sorry, chaps. Pricey, yeah. That's my roomie. Pricey. He's my roomie as well. How can I miss out Pricey and Clarky?
Okay, and by James asked, what's the best moment in your career?
The best moment would probably, I'd say the best moment is reaching the Premiership with Fulham and getting to grace the Premiership. Coming from where I come from, non-league, and making that journey through the leagues, and making it, as I say, head to the promised land, which is a Premiership.
Barry, I've got a question for you. My question is, so what keeps you going now? So what gives you the appetite to keep playing now? At the right old age you are now. So why still play?
I love playing. I love being on the pitch. I love running around, and I do play. I'm involved in two vets teams as well. But the level I'm at with Mersham, Step 3, I can contribute and at that level. I just love playing and being on the pitch as well. So, as much as I like coaching the youngsters and helping them along their journey, I love being on the pitch as well.
Is that key then, Barry? Is it? So, obviously, as long as you can contribute, you're going to still carry on and play. You know what I mean? Until the day that you can't contribute, or you feel that you can't contribute. Yeah,
exactly. So when I left Cheltenham was my last pro club at 38. So when I left Cheltenham, I was like, well, if the phone don't ring, then I won't play. But there was calls saying to come play from Truro. And then I carried on playing. I went an array of non-league clubs: St Albans, Chesham, Harsley Town. So yeah, I just love playing. So, and I've been fit enough to touch wood that maintain that.
What's recovery like? Because obviously I played up to 40. And it was recovery for me that I'd play on a Saturday and I'd get to Tuesday, Wednesday, sometimes Thursday, and I'd still struggle. And then obviously trying to do the same thing again. So it would be recovery more for me, yeah.
I've been quite lucky because sometimes I'd play on a Saturday and then the manager would say, "Oh, don't train Tuesday." And I'd be like, "Well, I'm fine." And he'd be like, "Sure?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine with that." So I'll take part. My thing is, and after a game, this is going to sound really funny, but I need a hot bath after a game. And that's what gets my body back into its mold and that. I know apparently it should be ice baths and that, but if I could set a bath and that and sit in a hot bath, and that does my body, and hence why I'm still playing now.
But people have the different traits, so don't know. I'll go back to Paul Ince. Middlesbrough Paul Ince used to have a bar of chocolate and a can of Coke after a game, and if that's not happening now, sports scientists are saying not happening. But it's whatever happens, and that's just about getting sugar back in your body. You know what I mean? And like you were similar to me that straight after a game, you know what I mean. Back in the day, it's have a pint of lager. You know what I mean? So you're not putting the fuel back into what you've just left, and it's football's evolved. You know what I mean? Rehabilitation's evolved, and sports science has evolved, and it's just turned football into more recovery, and it's trying to adapt your own. Yeah, it's trying to adapt your own body, but it's just as important for me. Just as important.
I had teammates who used to stretch after games and stuff like that. But they're the ones who would have hamstring strains, calf strains. Yeah. So it's I think it's down to the person's body in general. Like I was sitting in a hot bath and I'm stretching a hot bath. That was me. But hence why I'm still running around a lot less now. But yeah,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We had Andy Legg, who used to play for played a Cardiff for me. I remember one game that Leggy was sat in the changing room with a McDonald's. He had a chicken nugget meal, 12 chicken nuggets, chips, and a drink. So he was sat there in the changing room before a game at 1:30. Having his pre-match meal of a McDonald's. And that was just the norm. But I tell you what, when he went out on that pitch, he'd run all day. He was the fittest in the group. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's just what happens. And it is what it is. Every individual's different. Everybody's different. And everyone's stamina levels, fitness levels, pace, agility, for example.
Exactly,
everyone's different, so everyone to their own.
I had a pre-match at McDonald's one day. And I had a pre-match at McDonald's one day, and then I scored a hat-trick. So I thought that's the way forward. The next game, I couldn't track the ball, so I lost it off. Yeah. So yeah. As I say, it's down to the person's body, the person's know-how, really.
Oh, right. There's a couple of questions in the chat. Where are they gone? Barry, who was your icon growing up before and during your career?
Being a Tottenham fan, Glenn was my idol. He was a fantastic player, and funny enough, he was the manager and of Tottenham when I scored the 2 goals against them. And I was actually thinking maybe I might be bought one day, but it didn't quite work out. And I think literally not long after that, Hoddle, he got sacked as well from Tottenham. So he was a fantastic player, my idol, and he was at my club. And so for me, that was the perfect fit. But it didn't quite work out for him.
Indeed. Yeah, he's. I thought he did really well as England manager, Glenn Hoddle. And then he just obviously ran into some issues, which were really kind of off the pitch issues.
Exactly, yeah.
Just a shame that it kind of went over into his. It's gone again. Where's he gone? He's gone. Right. Okay. I think we're gonna leave it here because it's all sorts of issues with Barry's connection. So just before we did have some great questions, Andy. So I will leave you to tell the people who will be joining us next Monday, mate.
Well, first and foremost, just to apologise for what's happened, but it is what it is, isn't it? It's just one of those things. We just get on with it. It was still a great show with a great guest. Barry was amazing, some great stories. Love listening to him. Could listen to him all day. But next Monday, very lucky and very fortunate to have made some great connections over the last few weeks and months. And next week we've got a player who I played with from a country. For England under 21s on that memorable night in Barcelona against Yugoslavia. He set me up for my goal on the night, and that is the one and the only Emil Heskey. So I'm really, really, really excited about that. Can't wait to have him on. You know what I mean? He's had a amazing career. Broke my heart as a Leicester player at Wembley against Middlesbrough. Followed his career on after playing with him at Liverpool, Villa, etc. Still followed him when he went over to Australia towards the end of his career. And obviously it's still nice to be in contact with him finally again now. So I'm really, really, really excited for next Monday already. Anybody who wants to get some questions in early doors, we can get them out or just tune in. You know, it'll be a big one next week. But yeah, I can't wait. It's been massive for massive for the show, massive for us both, mate. I think next week.
Yeah, I can't wait, mate. Can't wait, and hopefully that puts my anti-Liverpool bias to bed. Being a former Liverpool player, but guys, yeah, you can send in all questions beforehand. You can send them in during the live show. The usual places, all the social media and everything's at the end of the show, and it's in the description. Subscribe to youtube.com/A.C.E Podcast Nation. I will edit the audio version of this one so it all flows together nicely into one complete show without the issues we had. So if you'd like to check that out, that'll be out sometime tomorrow, probably tomorrow afternoon, because I'll have to spend a bit of time editing it. Obviously, as usual, I'd like to thank Black Diamond Sports and Martin for all the support they give the show. You can check out their social media pages at the bottom of the description and in the closing credits. And of course, a massive thank you to Bespoke Financial for sponsoring the Andy Campbell Football Show. Again, apologies, guys, for all the issues with connections. When you're in the hands of technology, there's not a great deal we can do other than try and keep going and do it as professionally and as well as we can. Andy, thank you. And a massive thank you as well, by the way, to Barry Hayles. Hopefully, I really, really want to get Barry back on where we can have a kind of uninterrupted conversation, because what a great guy. And everyone in the chat and YouTube and Facebook was saying as well, like, what a great guy. Yeah, so thank you to Barry again. Thank you to Andy, mate. And again, Bespoke.
Yeah, don't forget Friday's show. I forgot about Friday's show. Friday's show should be a good one.
7 p.m. live.
Should be a good one. We've got our predictions from the weekend, which I don't think we both did too badly, by the way, in the end. So let's see how midweek goes.
Indeed. And big thanks, Black Diamond Sports. Check them out. And Bespoke Financial. And of course, check out all the A.C.E Podcast Nation shows coming up. We've got some crackers. See you Friday, 7 o'clock. But look out for some bonus content this week, because you never know what we might drop as a little makeup. See you Friday. See you, mate.
See you, guys.
My mummy and daddy have been talking about life insurance. It sounds like something to protect my brother and me, but I don't really understand. Then my Auntie Louise told Mummy about Bespoke Financial Teesside. She said they're a local company who helped her with her life insurance. Mummy got in touch, and because they're based locally, a man called Darren was able to come to our house. He was really friendly. Darren stayed for a cup of tea and made it all really easy to understand. He said that life insurance will protect our home and family if anything bad were to happen. Like if Mummy or Daddy got sick, then we'd get enough money to take care of us, and our house would be paid for so it wouldn't get taken away. After an hour, Darren said goodbye and Mummy and Daddy seemed a lot happier. Once it was all sorted, we could all relax and watch a film together as a family. I don't know why they didn't do it sooner.